As we're live. Surely YouTube's gonna work this time. Surely. It better work. Chad, are we live? Yep, we're live. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back in with a new stream. And that is right, we are live on this beautiful June 12th, 2025. I'm joined by Mr. John.
Hello.
Yeah, Real Texan is on break for those that don't know. So next 2 weeks is just going to be probably me and John Rose is here. So we have a lot to talk about today. We're talk about Israel and Iran. Got to talk about a certain Thomas Massie.
Oh gosh.
Listen, I was not expecting that tweet to blow up as it did, and holy crap! Did I start a shitstorm last night?
I guess so.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot to talk about with that. Thomas Massie's just a freaking... Just great. Now, before we get into it, guys, I need you to like and share the stream right now. Great way to support the content, helps the stream out of the algorithm. So like and share the stream right now. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And of course, if you have any questions, concerns, or want to support the channel even further, best way is sending super chats via the chat. Again, I read through as much of chat as possible, but usually super chats are the best way your questions answered. So, yeah. All right, let's get into the thing.
Get into the thing.
You know, I was not expecting that tweet to blow up as is. I mean, it has like 11,000 likes now, which is just crazy. But okay, so, for those that don't know what happened last night, I made a tweet. Of course, it's on Twitter. And, well, let me just pull up the original tweet. For those that don't know, there is a vote on it was a procedural thing, right? It was like some kind of procedural vote to advance the bill for the first rescission package, which it's $9.3 billion. Again, we want more, but it's a first package. And it passed, okay? It's not the final vote. I should have clarified that. But when they vote yes on this, that basically means the bill's passing. Okay, that's what this means. Well, it passed, but take a guess who voted no. Just somebody take a guess. I have a screen right here. Who voted no on this, John? Who voted no?
I believe it is a whole bunch of Democrats and one Thomas Massie.
Yeah. Thomas Massie voted no on this bill. Yeah. This is the rescission package. This is to cut spending. And he voted no. Now, he's claiming, oh, I'm going to vote yes today. It doesn't matter. What you did last night was a F you to everybody. He is full of shit. Thomas Massie is full of crap. I'm done with this guy. This guy blocked me, by the way. I'll get to that in a minute. But Thomas Massie lied. He was saying, oh, wait for the rescission package. And he voted no. Now, again, he's going to vote today. And, oh, I voted on the rescission package. No, you voted no. You just at the last second said yes for whatever reason. I know it's still passed, but...
Okay, but here's what I'll say, and I'm putting this in chat so that people can just look at it themselves. Here is the 4-page resolution that caused Thomas Massie to say no. He's like, oh, sneaky boys, they snuck some procedure and rules into here that I don't like. Just read this line and look what they're like, the edits that they're making to another bill. It's like changing base language. Strike the words intelligence and surveillance from paragraph 16, insert surveillance. So they're removing specific words from another bill. They're adding in a couple of things, and not everything's a fucking conspiracy. This is just like extremely nonchalant. Like, they wanted to remove from 1860 D12 of the Social Security Act, they wanted to strike the phrase or a successor regulation each place it appears. So that, like, again, when Massie was confronted about this in comments, and he was like, people were asking, well, what was the 4-page PDF file actually doing? And then, like, instead of like actually answering the question, he sat there and went, it's like the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm just scrolling. All it does is just adjust wording for the big beautiful bill. That's all it does, and nothing. It changes nothing. It just says, oh, we got to get rid of the word For example, the first one is in section 10004, strike standard utility allowance and insert a section. That's the type of crap he voted no on.
Yeah, so it's like basic linguistic corrections and then a couple of other edits, and it's basically he's saying that he's upset not really with the changes so much because they're so minute and completely meaningless. He's upset with the fact that they get to edit bills that have already been passed, like basic little words that they messed up. So he's basically like, you shouldn't be allowed to like fix the grammar on your homework, basically, to the rest of Congress. It's like you shouldn't be allowed to do that. We already passed it. I didn't agree to the specific minute wording of this. And we should have and like think about it. When Massie calls for this, I want you guys to think about the consequences beyond this just plain thing. If Massie was allowed to do this over and over and over again for every single time that they did this, nothing would ever get done in Congress ever.
Yeah.
They already struggle to do anything as it is because the procedures are such BS. And the libertarians are right to say that we should reform the procedures because they're all bad. They're archaic. But we fail to get anything done as it is in Congress right now. And Massie just wants to make it so that it's everything runs at a snail's pace and literally nothing ever gets done. And this is the thing that I've posted about, and the thing that irritated me about the whole thing is that there's apparently like no hierarchy of principles for Massie. Basically, Massie has a long laundry list of principles, and if like any single one of them gets violated by something Republican Congress is doing, then he's a no. And some people they have principles, but they go, "Oh, well, wait a second. Actually, I care more about spending cuts than like this stupid rule that changes nothing about the bill like meaningfully." Like that, like some people actually have like a brain to be able to be like, well, you know what? I'm getting a lot more out of this than the very little that's like negative that's happening because of this. And people are able to compromise. And guess what? When you do that, you're in politics. If you think that's a horrible thing to do and you don't ever want to function like that as a human being, study theology. Theology is the land where you don't compromise. Theology is the land where you get to just say, this is the objective truth and I'm never changing from it. When you're in politics, you are in a permanent state of temporal compromise because you are working with other human beings to build a functional, standing thing. And I know I've been rambling for a while, but like, you get what I mean? Like basically, Massie approaches this as if he's like the theologian of libertarianism instead of a politician. And that's why we're frustrated. That's why we've been complaining about him all these months, is because he's not a real fucking politician. He's not a real politician. He's someone that wants to insist upon his vision of the world on everybody else, and then, stand proud when nobody sides with him, nobody cooperates with him, and he gets nothing done. That's the world Massie wants to live in. He wants to live in a world of ideological purity. And I think it's just so heavily emphasized by the latest voting decision. And of course, as you guys have noticed, Massie's whole line, he's trying to basically make Rap look like a liar, and anybody else that disagrees with him a liar.
I'm pissed off about that,
like,
by the way. I'm mad about that.
Well, you're gonna look really stupid when I vote on it today. Motherfucker, you would have nothing to vote on today if you got your way yesterday. If your vote actually mattered yesterday, like you pretend it does, and that's how you get money from people, because you pretend your vote matters, right? If you got what you wanted yesterday, you wouldn't be voting on jack shit!
That's the whole point. Again, this is not the passage of the bill. I should have clarified that. But still, this is basically the passage of the bill. If you vote no on it, it doesn't go to a final vote. Wow! Is that so hard to understand? And Thomas Massie, this is like the 10th time he's done this. He lies to people about the process. He says, oh, this is the way it's done. I mean, guys, look at the bill right here. I have another page of it pulled up. It's 4 pages. Look at this. It just literally says, strike this word, strike this. It doesn't change shit. All it does is clarify. In fact, you could argue it actually simplifies the bill. Wouldn't you think Massie would love that? Oh, it simplifies the bill. It makes it shorter. No, he doesn't.
But it's taking away his vote for some reason.
He's so
It's
full of
taking away his
crap.
vote if you change like 3 words in the previous bill. Like that's basically what he's arguing. And like imagine put yourselves in the shoes of like some a mildly virtuous Republican congressman that's actually trying to do something in Congress, and he has to sit next to this motherfucker who basically bitches and moans every single time, like, oh, yeah, we're just trying to make a minor correction to the previous bill. Massie, can you please not have a spurg tard rage and try to fail the bill? Oh, no, I need to have my spurg tard rage because because people give me money for being a spurg and being a retard. So please let me be a spurg retard. That's Thomas Massie's world. That's his whole world. That is how he functions and that is how he lives.
All right, we got some super chats to catch up to. Holy crap, that was a good rant. That was a really good rant. American Earth for 3. Hey, Rap, what's happening in LA Insurrection Act? They arrested a bunch of people yesterday. Same thing in New York. No Insurrection Act yet, but we'll see. Eric for 5.
Caroline Levitt, I think Caroline Levitt yesterday said that they were going to invoke a different act,
Yeah.
and I believe the act they were going to enact is specifically for looters. I think like they can't prosecute anybody else, but they're going to go after the looters.
Yeah, so it's, again, the Insurrection Act, that was only if things got really bad, which is still, I mean, listen, the 14th can be a shit show. Saturday,
Yeah.
good luck, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Eric for 5. Massie does nothing but make excuses for voting to yes under Biden and no under Trump. Principle my ass, he's only principle for opposing Trump. Exactly! Remember, Massie voted yes on everything. Everything Biden wanted, he's like, yes, yes, yes. Remember the debt ceiling stuff? He was the reason it passed. He is the deciding vote for the debt ceiling when Biden was president. He is full of crap. American Earth for 2. Libertarianism equals anarchism. That's Massie's philosophy at this point. It's stupid. Cherokee Bear for 5. I don't feel sorry for... Okay, listen. Don't talk about Massie's wife like that. Thanks for super chat, but don't say that.
Okay. Look, like again, we are like channeling frustration and rage at this, and the reason Thomas Massie is getting hit so hard has nothing to do with his personal life or his wife or anything else. We feel really bad that he lost his wife. When I heard about that, my heart went out to him. It's not about that. It's about the people that fund him and the way that he obstructs anything from getting done. And those two things piss us the fuck off. Like that it's really bad. It's really bad. We're really done with Massie at this point. But like right now, yeah, no, don't attack him personally and don't talk about his wife like that.
American Nerd for 3. Massie might be worse than Amash at this point. He might. Because Amash was there when we had a big majority. So it didn't matter what he thought. But now, yeah, I think Massie's worse now. But okay, so let's see Thomas Massie, because he threw the biggest temper tantrum I've ever seen for any congressman. I have never seen a congressman lose their shit like that last night. At least, with me. Listen, I'm followed by a couple of them. Thomas Massie was one of them. Listen, all I did was report what Jake Sherman reported. He said he voted no on the bill.
He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Jake Sherman.
He voted no. He voted no to enable the final vote. So guess what does not get enabled if he doesn't vote? The thing he's voting on today.
Yeah. He's full of crap. He's using this as, oh, you were wrong. You're going to be proved wrong today. No, you're just covering your ass. Because you got called out for it.
Yeah, so like basically if he got what he wanted in Massie world, like we would be spending like a week or two like redoing everything all over again. All of the Republican congressmen, everything else would get delayed, every other bill would get delayed, just because he has a temper tantrum about like a word game, like a couple of words being changed in a previous bill. No, and I guarantee you, if those word changes were already in the original bill, he still would have voted yes on it.
Yeah.
He still would have voted yes on it. He's just having a temper tantrum. He's just having an emotional breakout because he feels like he basically feels like he has to be a resist lib right now, or else he has no career. That's really, yeah, it's stupid.
And the worst part is, like, his followers, I didn't even say anything. I just said the truth, like, hey, your guy voted no on this. And it's like, oh, Thomas Massie, our Lord and Savior, he said this. This is what Thomas Massie said, because there was a shitstorm. He said that And this was like at 3:40 a.m. Holy crap, he didn't get any sleep last night. But yeah. So
Didn't sleep.
the vote in Doge hasn't happened yet. The vote in Doge Cuts happen later today. I'll vote yes. Yesterday, Mike Johnson hit a resolution to change the text of the big beautiful bill instead of a resolution that dictates terms of debate for Doge. I vote against that jacked up bullcrap.
Well, yeah. So, anyways, my point would just be, and like, if you need a broader point to get across, if Massie got to run things like if he got to run the country, if he was president, and like we had 100, like 300 Thomas Massies in Congress, the world would be burning. The world would burn down before anything got done. We would already be like, maybe he would find a new way to make the sun explode faster. I don't know. But like, I genuinely believe that this is the least productive way. And I think this, if you wanted me to like give you like a genuine take on like what I think's going on, this is just the final corruption of the libertarian movement. The libertarian movement struggling so much after, constant decades of failure. This is like their final corruption. I can't get anything done and I'm always going to fail. So at least let me grift off of like blocking anything from happening. Like this feels like this is like the final dying gasp of federal libertarianism.
Yeah. Eric for two. Can Mass be sued for blocking like Trump was? This is his personal account. I don't think he can, but Inari for two. Libertarians praise Massie who votes against cuts. Yeah. We're at a point now they're against cuts. He's gonna vote yes on it today, but guys, all he did was like shoot somebody and then help in the hospital. That's all he did. Oh, good job. We got the bill to be passed. No, not because of you. You tried to prevent this from happening for no reason. I'm still confused. What was so bad in the package, the resolution? Can anyone explain? Can anyone explain what was so bad about the resolution that he had to vote no? Because I asked and I've heard nothing. They just said, oh, the resolution's bad. What about it? They say nothing. They just say, oh, it's bad. Hannah Herker stand for 5. There's no difference between the DeSimps and the Masims. They're the same people. The DeSimps and the Massie Sims, they're the same people. They're all the same people. They all supported DeSantis. They hate Orange Man. It's the same shit. So-called small government supporters when they have the chance to actually shrink the government. Yeah, $9 billion. And you're going to vote no. Because reasons. Great. But yeah, so I did get blocked by Massie when he followed me, which is just pathetic.
To be fair, I remember you saying like a couple streams ago, like, man, I can't believe he still follows me.
Yeah, I'm surprised. It took that long.
It took a while, but it finally happened. And all I gotta say is, I think as many annoying people as there are online that are obtuse and just like basically everybody that complains or says that you're stupid for saying this, no, they're just listening to Massie and they just believe everything he says. How is Massie pretending yesterday's vote was not on the rescissions package being able to be voted on? How is that in any way honest? All he does is, so basically Massie does this thing where he obfuscates the truth. He's not necessarily lying in the strict like literal sense, but he lies by omission and he lies by obfuscation. And so he's obfuscating what the previous bill was about so that he can pretend to have always voted on it today. And apparently I didn't realize the people following Lulberts were stupid enough to actually fall for that trick. But really, this is just an inversion. It's an inversion of reality. He wants to pretend he voted for the bill when he actually voted against it. And why did he vote against it? For the most pedantic reasoning possible. It really is that simple.
I mean, like, yeah, he did this with a big, beautiful bill. Remember that? He covered what the OCB was saying about it. He lied about the tariffs. He lied about everything. He lied, but
he's not only relying on the Democrat statistics that he probably would have shunned if we were in the middle of a Democrat presidency.
Yeah.
But he's also going around and basically just trying to distort the image of everything that's happening so that he's in the perfect light. And I'm sorry, I'm not saying that that's not part of politics. Politics partially is about framing. that is like that is him being strategic. But the problem is that he's never actually politically strategic in A, cooperating with his fellow congressmen, or B, just getting anything done. Like actually physically getting anything done. He's not I keep saying stuff like he's not a team player, but that's like a bit of that's those words aren't strong enough for how bad he is. He really is. He's like an antisocial congressman. I like imagine like you're in your class, you're like your high school or your middle school history class, and you see like the kid in the back who like, kind of is a little bit too into Mustache Man and like some of the World War II stuff. And you're always like wondering like, is he going to bring a gun into school one day?
Oh,
That's Thomas Massie in
Jesus.
Congress. That's Thomas Massie in Congress. Every congressman looks over their shoulder like, Thomas Massie bringing in the assault rifle today? Like
Oh my
that's how they feel about him.
gosh. Okay, we'll get, guys. I see the Trump immigration stuff. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to talk about the Massey stuff real quick. But okay, American Nerd for 5. Wasn't Massey elected to the House during the time of 2010 to 2014 when almost every Republican was a part of the Tea Party movement that did nothing? Yeah, that's where he's from. The Tea Party movement. K-Cup for 2. In addition to the Simps, we now have Massey. Christ. Oh, gosh. SOVN for 27. When a senator did a Massey, Caesar had him begging. Oh, gosh. Well, I mean, like, the whole thing, just in a nutshell, Massey's lying. There's nothing else to say. He's full of crap. He's lying. He's a scumbag. I mean, seriously, to claim I'm lying about this? So you're telling me that everybody else is lying? He's the only one telling the truth? And by the way, you know how he loves those AI things? Those shitty Grok AI things? Go ask Grok right now. Did Massey vote no on the package? He'll say yes. Is Grok now a conspiracy? It's a pile of crap.
Grok, is Thomas Massey lying to me?
Yeah.
Is Thomas Massey full of shit? Grok, please help me.
Okay, so let's talk about the big story that a lot of people are talking about. We got to talk about the immigration stuff that Trump tweeted about earlier. And for those that don't know, I am not happy about this. For those, yeah, I got the tweet up right here. So President Trump earlier today said, our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure businesses have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration has taken very good, long-time workers away from them, with those jobs being almost impossible to replace. In many cases, the criminals allowed in our country by the very stupid Biden open border policy are applying for those jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Change are coming. So, I want to be clear about one thing. I'm not happy about what Trump said here. I think it's stupid. You know, I don't get why Trump does this. Again, you have to be careful of Trump because he says one thing, he does the opposite. That's Trump in a nutshell. He said stuff like this back in 2018 and 2019. He never did anything. But these farmers are full of crap. These farmers are full of shit. All they're mad about is their cheap labor is going away. They're slave labor. They pay like $2 an hour for it. That's the truth in this. But John, what's your thoughts on the immigration stuff he said? Because it's pissing people off, and I can understand it.
I'll be good.
Let's see here. Eric for 5. Even Matt Gaetz was far more effective than Massie was in half the time in Congress. Also took no money from AIPAC. Yeah, that's true. Quick mode for 2. Thomas, don't come to Congress tomorrow, Massie. Oh gosh. But yeah, I'm not happy about this this statement by Trump. Yeah, John, do something real quick.
Right.
Oh, there you
yeah. Go. I was grabbing my slappa. I just got back.
Okay.
And genuine slappa.
Oh, gosh.
But yeah, no. With the farm thing. Okay, but before I start Trump-splaining, I'm gonna go ahead and say you can read my posts. When I saw this, I had a negative reaction. I said no. Actually, 12 minutes. I counted it. 12 minutes before Matt Walsh posted about this, I said the exact same thing he ended up saying, which is that these farmers belong in prison.
Yeah, they should be. Guys, these farmers that they're bitching, they're the ones that the mega farm stuff. They're the ones that have cheap labor. That's who's complaining the most. And these people should be in prison. Yeah. They literally got slave labor in 2025. So
this is black and white. I'm going to start explaining why Trump did this, but it's black and white. This is the wrong decision. Trump shouldn't do this.
I agree.
Okay. So the whole thing that I think is going through Trump's mind, you know that he listens to everyone. You know that he works with everyone. You know that when the automotive manufacturers were facing, tariffs on materials they were importing to make cars, they went to Trump and they're like, "Hey, dude, we're gonna shut down factories if you don't like help us out. Like we can try and shift our supply chain, but like we just don't have the time." And then Trump was like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna give you like a little bit of reprieve. I'm gonna give you a little bit of a break so that you can change your workforce." And I feel like the same principle is being applied here. The farmers came up to him and they're like, "Hey, look, man, I know you hate illegals, but we're gonna lose our farms. We're all gonna go out of business." And in my world, if I had done the Dragon Ball Z fusion between Donald Trump and Stephen Miller, they would be arrested right then and there. You were harboring illegals at your business?
Oh my gosh.
No, but you know, no. Instead, we have Trump, who's a businessman, and Trump really wants America to thrive. He wants the economy to thrive, and he understands, well, wait a second. If I really push this, am I going to end up with a bad situation? Am I going to end up in a situation where all these farmers shut down and these businesses end up no longer existing or being feasible because of my actions? So he kind of errs on the side of like maintaining businesses solvency, like their ability to keep a profit. And as you guys know, even with subsidies, farms very slim profit margins, if at all. Sometimes there's negative profit margins in farming, depending on what country you live in and what the subsidies are. There's negative profit margins.
I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, it's just sensitive, and so I think that's what Trump's doing. It's the wrong decision, but that's why Trump's doing it. He's trying to protect the businesses and like allow them to continue existing. But honestly, they should be arrested and they should be forced to sell their farms to actually good human beings that hire Americans.
And we got breaking news. Actually, President Trump just said something during a press conference. He said, I got it pulled up right here. We can't take farmers to take all their people and send them back because they don't have maybe what they're supposed to have. Maybe not. They get rid of some of the people. They end up hiring the criminals that have come in. We're going to have an order on that soon. We can't do that to our farmers and leisure too, hotels. We're going to have to use common sense on that. Damn it! Don't Trump. I swear to God. This better not be what I think it is. I swear, he better not be saying, "Oh, we're gonna protect the illegals on the farm." No, deport these people. I have an idea. You know why people don't want to work at a farm? A lot of these farmers that rely on cheap labor, the conditions suck. They pay them like $2 an hour. No, this is stupid. John Willard for 2 didn't have these border problems until the Trump era. What the hell are you talking about? We have these border problems. We've been having it for like 50 years.
The Trump era came into existence because the border problem existed.
Yeah.
I don't know if you understand this, but the reason people were so frustrated with the GOP that they got this random businessman from New York who like was popular on TV to become president, which was the most insane concept in the world to people in 2015, was because he made like one of the primary things he was talking about immigration, and everybody was pissed off that the Republicans weren't actually doing anything for immigration. They were just like, "Well, secure the border, secure the border." And every single time they said they're going to secure the border, they didn't fucking secure the border. So we voted for the guy that said build a wall. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, K-Cup for 5. My longtime family friends from the small rural towns around me love this. Real farmers have to compete with these mega farms, and it's really unfair to them. I understand a lot of these farmers, they need this labor, but I have a better idea. I saw somebody in chat suggest this, but I was thinking about this for 2. Why can't we just use prison labor for this? So seriously, just to think about it. If it's like people on like, they're doing good, and they want to get out of prison a bit earlier, why can't we just use them?
I'm for it. Sure.
Be like, okay, you proved yourself to be like not insane in your time in prison. You're still gonna be there for like a year or 2, but if you work on this farm for a year, you get out now a year early or something.
And this is like all prisoners are a tax liability on us,
Yeah,
and like we're keeping them and we feed them, and they cost what was it, like $50,000-$60,000 a year per
yeah,
person? Yeah, just put them on a farm.
yeah. Just say, okay, you wanna make sure you get something to go to after you're out of prison, and you want to work now. Here you go. And we'll give you like a small like, we'll give you like maybe like a quarter an hour or something. We'll give you something. I don't know, just something like that. I mean, think about that. Like, why would anyone be against that? If it's like a non-violent criminal or something, why not? Just put
The
them through good
Democrats,
things.
the Democrats and the left, they believe mm, this is horrible and exploitative, and it's slave
Yeah.
labor under another name. Of course, what they want is real slave labor.
Yeah. They want real slave labor. They want poor people from like Mexico to come in and work in the fields for $1 an hour. That's what they want. So,
And to wipe their ass, as one congresswoman
yeah,
told
I
us.
remember that. Oh, they gotta wipe their asses. These freaking people.
I
That's
just
all
I
they
just
think
keep bringing that
about.
up. I keep bringing that up because like that is the most transparent statement that a person can ever make.
K Cup for 5. John, would Trump and Miller do the fusion dance or use the patera? Also, would the fusion be bald or have Trump's golden Super Saiyan 47 hair? Gosh.
I think like they would have the Patara rings, so like they would have the earrings, but like Trump's hair would like be included like with a strike of like a Norwood mohawk through the center. I don't know. I have to think about it. I'll come back with some designs.
Yeah. But that's slavery. How could you expect criminals to pay their dues back to society? Yeah, and would that actually help them if you think about it?
Yeah,
Because if they're
probably.
actually doing something productive, they can learn new skills, and when they get out of the prison, they can do something different.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like most of the time in prison, they learn how to be better criminals. So
Yeah,
it would be nice if they went to prison and learned how to be better, like
people.
skilled workers.
Yeah, why,
Yeah.
why, why can't we just do that? Yeah, Chad, let's make a big push for this. Why, instead of having cheap labor from Mexico, just say, hey, this prisoner that's been in prison for like 6 years or whatever, you still gotta be here for 2 more years. But if you go to this farm, work there for a year, you can get out early, or just
Have them work
something.
on farms, have them work construction,
Why
have
not?
them work basic contract labor. If there's contract labor that's done, a prisoner can probably do it.
Yeah. Let's see. Having a job lined up right out of prison would fix a significant amount of reconvictions. Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point. That's the idea. So you kill two birds with one stone. A, it gives these farmers and stuff no reason to continue having cheap labor from, wherever. Just hire American, prison labor. And two, it gives these people purpose. It helps them get out of prison faster. It's just something. So, the problem is that almost all businesses aren't willing to hire people with criminal records. That's part of the problem. I get that, but try something different. You gotta try. You can't just say we need cheap labor from Mexico or whatever. No.
Mind you, the rehabilitative justice department, like the people that work with prisoners, they already do set these people up for jobs when they get out of there. It's just that some of these jobs are completely and utterly useless. They're part of the useless economy.
Yeah.
Um, sometimes they're taught to be political agitators when they get out of prison, which is really fascinating to me.
All right. SOVN for 27. Which Trump spoke more eloquently? Bro said nothing. I get like some people are interpreting it as, oh well, maybe Trump wants to protect certain people. I don't know, but I have a bad feeling about this. I just got a bad feeling about the immigrant stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we're about to take a Trump L,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
But the thing is, people are saying, oh, this means they're gonna slow down deportations. Today in LA, they literally had the biggest raid yet. So I don't think they're slowing down. I just think Trump's gonna sign on a bullshit executive order where it exempts like farmers or something. That's my guess. Which again, that's stupid. Don't these people should be arrested. So
They should be arrested, illegals deported, business owner, and like I said, if you're like, oh, what about the farm after the business owner's arrested? It should just be sold to someone else. They should be forced to sell it through like a lawyer or something. That's really all I think about it. They don't deserve to keep their business if they're hiring illegals.
just kidding. Put the prisoners to work. Prisoners yearn for the mines. They do. Throw them in the mines. Stephen Miller is in charge of immigration policy. That's the one thing that might save us. Stephen Miller has a lot of power when it comes to
Yeah.
immigration. So I want to laugh. The executive order is just like the cheap labor for prisoners. If
Oh
it's
yeah.
that,
Did, did you see the thing Stephen Miller posted last night?
what do you post?
Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up real quick so that I can read it directly, because like I don't want to misquote Lord Stephen Miller, my
Gosh.
goat. Oh my gosh, no, no, but it's let's see here.
Caden for 2. Send Newsman and Bass to do farm labor. I agree. Make them the first examples. Go ahead. All right.
Man, I've been posting. Okay, yeah. So, Stephen Miller, this was actually like in response to after someone had said something. I think Newsom and the Democrats from California said something stupid, so he responded, "In 1 month, Biden admitted 500,000 illegals into the USA. 500,000. This is an age in history. It just happened. We held an election on it. Removing the same number monthly as Biden admitted monthly would be an incredibly modest position."
I gotta pull it up now.
Yeah. Yeah, here I'll
Oh
put it in general.
my
Yeah.
gosh. I
Okay.
love
And
Miller.
like I love Miller because like that's this is like he basically is like just pushing the letter so hard here. 500,000 a month would be an incredibly modest position. And then but like then I stop and think about it and like Stephen Miller's Jewish, right? And then I think about like 500,000 per month. There's 12 months in a year.
Stop.
What's
Okay.
500,000
Just
times
just just
12?
stop. Just stop.
What's 500,000 times?
Uh,
Chat, are you I can't say it, but can you do some quick math in your head?
stop. Okay.
It's
I know. We've gone off
500,000
the
times 12.
rails. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, but yeah, Stephen Miller. I think I saw this. I might have skimmed over this, but yeah, Stephen Miller is in charge of immigration policy, and he's saying we got to deport 500,000 people a month. So, my gosh, chat. Why
Chat
you
learned
started?
math.
But
Chat
like,
learned math.
I do wonder though, because there's been a lot of self deportations, right? Oh my gosh, that escalated quickly.
Okay, maybe they were deported,
Okay.
but 6 million. Ugh.
Anyways, I'm starting to wonder the more I think about this because okay, we've had a lot of self deportations, right? Everyone knows this. We've had a lot of self deportations. There's like a million less. I think is oh gosh. Okay, chat. No, we're going too far. Stop it. All right.
This is the only big math problem that chat could calculate quick. Okay. But your point, with self-deportations, it looks like so far we've had 1 million people leave the workforce. And it seems like of a large portion of those million,
Left
about
America.
700,000 have left in 4 months. And that's if that held steady, that would be like 2 million a year. Now, what I'm thinking, and this was the thing I wondered earlier, um, these LA riots are really serious. We're seeing it all over television, and the ICE raids are not letting up. So if Trump wins this war against the anarchists in the Democrat Party, I mean, how many more do you think self-deport?
You know, that's what I'm trying to say. Maybe it's like 5 million a year, maybe at least for a
I mean,
couple
like,
years.
I would be. I mean, again, this goes beyond anything that I thought we could realistically do. I always had low expectations because I've just always seen our federal government as inept and corrupt and horrible. Um, but yeah, no, I mean, we're about to get before. But the money for the deportation efforts, I think, will hit like in September
Yeah.
if we pass the bill, and then they would have a solid the last 4 months of the year, basically September, October, November, December, to work on that bigger budget and to also basically. And now they're not just deporting because Trump's an op; they're deporting after all of these illegals saw on TV all these ICE raids and people getting ripped out of there. Like again, I know. It's like there's a human element to this where we feel bad for them because like, oh man, they're living in fear. But again, they won't be afraid if they go back to where they're supposed to be.
Yeah, just self-deport. That's the whole point. Trump's team is making a big push. It's working. A lot of people self-deporting right now as we speak, and I'm starting to wonder though, are there some like legal immigrants that are leaving the workforce, like, and that's kind of like screwing some of these companies over? Maybe, but I don't know. I just hope Trump doesn't sign an executive order saying, "Oh, farms are exempt." What I'm hoping for is it's really just like an fu to these people to be like, "Oh, you can use prison labor. Well, why don't you use prison labor? Go ahead." Okay, Henry Hooker stand for 2. Can Stephen Miller be Vance's VP in 28? That would never happen, but I would love that. That would that would never happen. Hold up. Are we getting breaking news out of Iran? Which, by the way, everyone talked about Iran yesterday. Did anything happen?
No. Well, okay. Things happened, and everybody's like on high alert. It's just that we all thought something was going to happen overnight, and nothing happened. So let me kind of give a rundown. We heard a billion things happen yesterday. Number one, we had troops in Bahrain, in Kuwait. The dependents of the people working there were told to evacuate. We were told that the Russian and Chinese embassies in Iran were evacuated. We were told that there were Israeli jets taking off, going over South Iraq. Um, we heard like all of these things, and it all came in coinciding with the vote yesterday in Israeli parliament. They voted a non-confidence vote, which in parliamentary rules, if you guys have been following any of our other stuff we talked about other countries, means that the government's going to be dissolved.
Yeah.
And so all of these things were happening at the same time, and it made it look like something was about to happen.
Some of them might be happening actually. Um, Nobody's self-deporting, guys. Guys. The Wall Street Journal admitted there's like 700,000 people that left. A million immigrants have left the workforce. So yeah, people are self-deporting. Okay. According to Zero Hedge, President Trump said that they're fairly close to an agreement with Iran, and he said an Israeli strike could blow it. That's what Trump just said like 10 minutes ago.
Okay.
So,
So that those were those words, and I guess he's echoing what Steve Witkoff was saying, which I can pull that up here. We had a scoop from Axios that dropped like right before the stream that I was going to bring up anyways. White House envoy Steve Witkoff privately warned top Senate Republicans that Iran's retaliation to an Israeli strike on its nuclear program could overwhelm Israel's defenses and cause mass damage and
oh,
casualties.
but Trump wants war with Iran, everybody. Yeah, sure. But like all that's happening right now, and I think Johnny talked about this yesterday. Yeah, I'll pull up this. I'll
Yeah.
pull up the tweet. What's actually happening here is Netanyahu's doing this for power. That's truth in this. Netanyahu
Well,
is about to get thrown out, but go on. Sorry.
no. So I could be this could be a misread. I'm not an expert on Israeli politics, but I talked to a few people about this, and they are explaining to me that yes, right now as it stands, according to polling in Israel, Bibi would be kicked out if they held an election in a few weeks or however long it takes for them to organize elections. But if Bibi wanted to simultaneously raise his poll numbers and also stay in power, similar to what Justin Trudeau did in Canada earlier this year, if he wanted to pull a Justin Trudeau, he could do that with an emergency like a war. So, Bibi can't pull an emergency on tariffs, but he can absolutely pull an emergency if they are engaged in a war with another country. And other people were pointing out, well, aren't they already like kind of in smaller scale conflicts with Syria because they're occupying parts of Syria? And like, aren't they like extremely aggressive and hostile towards Lebanon? Yes, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know exactly what passes it, but the narrative that was being constructed, which may be false, I'm going to go ahead and say it's false, but we think that they were going to strike Iran so that Bibi could stay in power and boost his poll numbers because Israel likes it. Apparently, Israelis like it when their enemies are bombed.
That's Israel for you. All right.
In America, when you bomb people, your poll numbers go down. In Israel, when you bomb people, your poll numbers go up. What a world.
All right, Life of Brian for 5. Trump is cucking on Iran, on Ukraine, now on illegals. This is what he is. MAG has no leverage on Trump's, or so he cucks to the rhinos. He is a rhino, to be honest. Okay, that's bullshit. Okay, let's dissect
Uh,
this. Iran. He's trying to prevent a war in Iran right now. His people are saying no. If Israel does this, we're screwed. That's what he's saying. So no, he's not pushing for war. Ukraine, both sides suck, but every day it seems like we inch closer to peace. So. And now on illegals. We don't know what the executive order is. And just this morning, after Trump announced, oh, we gotta maybe slow down, they did the biggest ICE raid in Los Angeles yet. So, again, Trump's one of those people that if you complain and give criticism, not just say, oh, Orange Man bad, he will listen. So, excuse me.
I anticipated yesterday this class of online sea urchin coming out from the woodwork to try and actually just make everybody feel bad for voting for Trump. But again, and I am to be honest, I'm very disappointed with Russia Ukraine. I'm actually very pessimistic about Russia Ukraine right now, at least for a few months because the war is going to continue. But with Iran, I see the administration, I see Steve Witkoff, I see our peacemakers working as hard as possible to prevent this from happening. It's just that the reality of politics is we still don't always get what we want, even when we vote for it, because you're in a republic, and you're in a deeply corrupt bureaucratic republic. Okay. Now, and this is my point. You know, the same reason we've been shitting on Massie is the same reason that you're wrong about voting for Donald Trump. It's because you have no alternative. You have no realistic path towards making anything modestly better. And Donald Trump's first 5 months of his administration have fucking rocked in comparison to both his first term, which was pretty depressing, and any other presidency that has happened in my lifetime. So yeah, and you're never going to make me feel bad about voting for Donald Trump, and you're just a piece of shit for trying.
Yeah. It's a pile of crap. Real Republicans like George Bush. Yeah, sure, buddy, sure. But yeah,
Real Republican.
I'm reading this. This sounds like Trump's team's trying to stop the war from happening. This does not sound
Yeah.
like, oh, it's a grand conspiracy. I'm not getting that whatsoever from this. Because, I mean, if you go to war, if Israel and Iran start bombing each other, they're going to bomb American places too. That's why Trump's just trying to stop it. So,
There are multiple people in the administration, and there are a lot of people in the Senate that want war with Iran, and it's because it either fits their ideological preferences, or it fills their pockets, or it does both. It usually does both. Yes, we have that evil force in our federal government, but we elected the good guys. Did you realize that we elected the good guys and they're trying to do the right thing? Can you like can you give them a fucking break, bro?
oh no,
Like
but Vance is a war hawk, actually. Vance wants a war. Sure.
Vance is a warhawk because of one comment he made during the RNC where he explained in the undesirable scenario where we have to strike Iran, we want it to be over quickly. That's basically what Vance said at the RNC last year. Is like, I don't want that to happen, but if we have to do it, we got to do it hard so that it doesn't. Basically, the point Vance was making is if the Republican senators and these assholes in the executive branch force us to go to war, I want it to be over as quickly as possible because I hate forever wars. That was basically what he was saying. I hate forever wars. Let's not do a forever war. Let's just blast them into non-existence. Like that was the thing. And people don't like that, but again, it's like if you're forced to do
Ugh.
something, I would rather that because I
You,
prefer Americans staying alive. I would prefer that to 20 years in Afghanistan, okay?
you know, the amount of people I'm seeing on Twitter right now saying, oh, Trump's filled into the immigrants. No, that's not what's happening. He literally did another ICE raid today. I don't get what people want. Like, listen, I'm not happy about this. Obviously, I think it's stupid. But this idea that, oh, President Trump is actually trying to appease the rioters, how? He's still deporting
How?
them. Um,
There is no universe where Trump is trying to appease like rioters right now. Are you even paying attention? Like I don't even. That's crazy.
Well, here's what I think's going on. And it just there's still some like Chamber of Commerce people in the administration, not as much the first term obviously, but there's some people saying, "Oh, the economy is gonna crash if you don't have these cheap workers." And someone's gonna tell Trump they're full of crap. These people just don't want to hire American. That's the truth. They just want slave labor. So, yeah, just again, if you want to have cheap labor, just use prison labor then. Just work on something different.
If I'm gonna somehow like reach out to the position, what I will say, like the pinch of truth in anything that they're saying, very tiny, 1% truth to 99% lie, is that we're transitioning. We're transitioning from one type of economy to another, and we're changing from one labor source to another. Okay, that's all true. I would prefer a harsher methods of transition, but it seems like Trump wants to be a little soft on people because he really wants the economic numbers to stay good. He wants them to stay healthy. Um, we can disagree with that. We can tell him it's the wrong thing, and we can push him. And again, this is the point of being here and talking about it. You guys can push online for the stuff you don't like, and you can tell Trump, "Hey, Trump, don't fucking do that. Put these assholes in prison." Like, and if he sees that, and if he knows what his base wants, then he might change his mind. He doesn't just listen to the business owner; he listens to us too. This is the most in tune administration with the online world that we've ever seen.
All right.
Actually, Patrick Casey said something to this effect. He said, I live in DC. There's not a single person I know from the administration that isn't into the online culture." That's something Patrick Casey said.
Yeah.
Um, so you have a voice. You have a voice
Just
and
be
that you
loud.
didn't have before. Yeah.
Just guys, this is what I'm trying to telling people. If you have a complaint with Trump, be loud about it. Remember what happened with the immigration stuff? We were loud about that, like we're the mass deportations, and then within a couple weeks, look what happened to L.A. And Stephen Miller was like, "Okay, you assholes got to do something." So yeah, you do have a voice. You just can be loud about it. Be like, "Yeah, we want more deportations. Yeah, this is stupid." That's what you got to do. Don't just say Orange Man is bad. I regret my vote. Do you really regret voting for Trump when we would have had Harris? Can you imagine
The mo
President Harris right now?
Yeah, that would be pretty bad. But the moment I knew that you guys had a voice and we had a voice collectively was the moment on that debate stage where Trump said they're eating the dogs.
Yeah,
Okay? They're eating the
he
dogs. You have a
knew.
voice.
K
He
count,
knows.
K count for 5. Trump's 2024 campaign was like 4 different election cycles in one, and now the first 5 months of him in office is like 4 other presidential terms. Yeah, this has been a chaotic presidency. It's been great. I love it. It's free content.
Free content.
Let's see here.
Imagine how boring the stream would be if one of these Normicons or Lolberts was the president, and
Oh,
how
this
like
feels
depressing it would
terrible.
be. Yeah.
Pat Buchanan's acknowledged that reindustrializing and shutting down the mass migration pipeline would tank the economy. Trump is doing his best to fix a nation without tanking the economy. Yeah, that's why I say I think Trump's a
Right.
bit skeptical to go after the farms for now, because if you go after that and like the entire food industry collapses, that could be
Well,
bad.
well, well, right. We understand we want harsher measures and we want people to be punished for hollowing out our nation essentially. But we that's what I'm saying. It's like I don't approve of what Trump is doing, but I understand probably where his brain is. And that's my position. And you guys can disagree with me or you can be closer to Trump than me on that issue. I don't mind. It's just that's where I stand. I want harshness, and I guess I care less about the impact on the economy if it got us back to. But the thing is, I have a different calculation in my head. The calculation in my head is that all these people are a bigger net drain on the welfare system and the grants and everything, like whatever they're using, whether they're getting housing or Medicare, Medicaid, or Medicare for their grandma, their abuela, or if they're getting whatever. I feel like they're a bigger strain on our infrastructure than they actually are on like a net benefit, which is why I want them gone anyways. Um, but you can calculate it differently in your head, and you can agree with Trump more than me. I'm just going to disagree with Trump
Yeah,
about
I
this.
just think there's a better way to handle this. Maybe what you could do is like focus on like every other industry first, then go after this. If you would have done that, fine. But I'm just scared what the executive order is going to be. What will happen with the executive order? So, not
Yeah.
good. Let's see. I want harsh measures, but I know what Trump is doing and why he's doing it. I kind of get it, but
Yes.
there's better ways to do it, I think. That's just my take.
Yeah.
Let's see. Absolutely, the short-term economy can take a tiny hit with inflation cooling while we deport these people. Well, yeah, look at inflation. Remember when everyone was saying we're gonna have 80% inflation by now? It's going down.
Well, you remember like when it's like in El Salvador when Bukele was kicking out all of the black market dealers because they had a bunch of people running an entire economy under the belt, and people were saying that the economy would crash if he imprisoned all these people and kicked and did what he did. Well, he imprisoned it and the GDP grew. Like again, it's like and so I'm thinking that something similar might happen if Trump got all these illegal farmers out and like they actually had to either switch to automation, which they absolutely can. There's a lot of this work they're using illegal migrant labor for. They can just do with automation or switching to American labor. I really think that there might be a similar effect because of how much strain they put on the system. I really think so.
Life of Brian for 5. First, I voted Trump and campaigned for him and would have done it again, so get effed. Second, MAGA does not have leverage on Trump. Check the endorsements. The endorsements I know are not good. That's been the one critical thing to Trump I have. His endorsements are still not good. It's gotten better, but guys, this idea that you have no leverage, you do. Trump listens. Look at the ICE stuff. Oh, Trump's doing nothing with deportations. 5 minutes later, they mass deport people.
But, okay, listen. If we have no leverage and there's no point to anything, then why aren't you a normie? Why do you think about anything? Go outside, live your normal life, go do your job, have sex, get married, have kids. Why are you? You can still do all that stuff and talk about this, but what I'm saying is like, what's the point in being here and talking about it if you think there's no point to it? If you have nihilism and fatalism about anything that we discuss, then just get the fuck out the door and go live a life. Go live a life where you think nothing about politics ever.
Yeah.
Just do it. You will be more mentally healthy doing that because a lot of you guys just can't handle politics. Someone else said this. It was what's his name? Captive Dreamer or whatever,
Yeah, Captain
Martin.
Dreamer, yeah.
Martin was saying it's like, well, a lot of you just aren't built for this. A lot of you just aren't built for like the kind of discussions that we're having. And you just like you get hyper neurotic or you get hyper panicked or you get whatever. And we have emotions, and that's part of why we're doing a show. It's like the point of the show is that we are expressing people's reactions. But the whole fucking thing is like you would probably be better off if you just stopped thinking about politics if you're going to have that attitude. Be here with an attitude that you're going to change something, okay?
Yeah, I mean, like, this doomer mindset. I'm not even denying what people are saying. Just don't have this doomer mindset of, oh, everything's over. There's no point. Who do you think wants you to think that way? Think about it. Who wants you to be a doomer?
I want you to I want to bring up one thing. You may think it may be less relevant, but Stephen Miller retweeted an anime profile picture twice last week. Twice,
Yeah,
okay? And so if no matter how lame you think you are, Stephen Miller has retweeted an anime profile picture twice. So, and look, everybody's being seen. The administration sees all of us, and our ideas influence what they think and say. And we're not a think tank. We're not like the Compass Institute, which apparently has an outsized influence on the administration. But we're still people, and they still see us. Okay.
Hold up. We got some breaking news. So, apparently, as everyone knows, earlier last month, President Trump was making. There was some rumors going around that he was going to push to ban pharma ads on TV. Well,
Yeah.
apparently, the Wall Street Journal is now reporting that senators are going to propose a ban on drug advertising to consumers, according to the Wall Street Journal. So, is it going to happen? Are we going to?
I mean, I see a lot of people lobbying against this. Like, this is the kind of bill that would put Fox News out of business like really quickly.
Do it! Do it! Screw these companies. Like, these companies are full of crap. Go after the drug advertising.
Don't be surprised that this bill gets resistance, but it would be an objectively good thing.
It will. All right. Apparently, it might be Bernie Sanders pushing for this, so it's never gonna pass. Anyways,
Oops.
Kyle Beckman for 10. The lie told by the illegal alien supporters is that prices will go up. Not true. American taxpayers subsidize illegal aliens through welfare, social services, and healthcare, i.e., Medicaid and medical. Yeah, this was the biggest
All right,
myth
like
ever.
every time they go to the hospital, we pay for it. Every time they bring their grandma over the border with them, we pay for them. Every single time that they put their kid in a school that has special needs because he doesn't know English, we pay for it. Every single time that they use any service that is available in our heavily, our welfare state, we pay for it. And so I'm just saying it's like when you remove the labor, yeah, that labor's gone, maybe the business falls through, but also the tax burden disappears. The hospitals are charging the federal government less, not charging, but we pay off when the hospital has these kinds of bills. Like all of this money that we're spending that kind of like is like in the net, it's not easy to see. It's not easy to see the spending that we're talking about, but it happens because someone has to bail out the hospitals and someone has to bail out all these people. But that goes away. Imagine if the spending on Medicaid and Medicare just like magically dropped through the floor or whatever. Um, and like all of these other things. Um, and also, I've been saying that they're willing to get Medicare, that they can't get Medicare technically. Um, that they can get on Obamacare though. So I should have clarified. You can get your abuela on Obamacare isn't illegal. You can't get them on Medicare.
Yes, that's what people understand. Like, it's inflation goes down when you deport people. This was the whole thing these idiots don't understand, because think about it. What do people need to live? Well, what do they need? Food, water, all that stuff, housing, etc. And take a guess how many people there are of illegals, like 40 million. Do the math. You deport 40 million people. What do you think's
The,
gonna
the
happen?
only the only thing that these people pay for is basically their own food, and that's it. They don't pay for their
Yeah.
medical care, and they don't pay for their housing, and they don't pay everything else is paid for. That's how they're able to send money home anyways. That's on such low wages. All they do is pay for their food.
Hold up. Members of Congress have begun to come out against Trump's plan for migrant labor. Good. It sounds like Tom Cotton's leading the charge, and our good old boy Thomas Massie's actually saying something.
Um, what's it this
Yay.
time?
Let's see. Well, Thomas Massie, let's see how insane you sound right now. And oh my gosh.
Is he pivoting?
Thomas Massie's a jackass. That's what I'm gonna say. So Cernovich said a couple days ago, like, how Thomas Massie does not support deporting illegal immigrants, which he doesn't.
Yeah,
Well,
he
now
doesn't.
Thomas Massie posted the farmer thing, and he said, notice the wording, he doesn't support deporting illegal immigrants.
Okay, so basically, he's trying to pretend that he's pro deportations and pro strong immigration by taking advantage of Trump trying to work with business owners. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah. I hope people ratio him to hell, because I'm getting sick of this guy. This guy is the biggest fraudster I've ever seen, and I can't even share his tweet. I'm blocked.
Well, it's funny. Someone pointed out the fact that like all this resistance, at the start of the administration, we weren't thinking about the Lawlerts that much, but we were thinking about Mitch McConnell, who is very trying to heavily influence the Senate leader election. He was voting no on like all the appointees for like Trump's cabinet. Like, when you think about it, all of this crap is out of Kentucky. It really is. It like there you have to think about that for a minute. And I'm not saying there's a conspiracy in Kentucky, but I'm just saying like I really think that the administration should focus next year on completely cleaning house in Kentucky. I think a lot of money should go to cleaning out Kentucky fully. Really. I don't think it deserves that is a state that should not be a harbor for the worst of the GOP, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah. K-Cub for 2, rap, what do you need to live? Lib, Switch 2. Gosh. The Switch 2's a pile of dog shit. That's what I'm gonna say. That's all I know. Blood Red Kentucky. Yeah, that Kentucky should not be having Rand Paul types. I mean, seriously, why is Rand Paul and Thomas Massie like a decent chunk of the delegation, and the other ones like McConnell, like Barr? Wow, what a great list right there. How is it just so shitty? I mean, who is the best Republican in Kentucky? Who? Is there a good one at all? Man Milk for 2. The moment when Bevin is the best of the Kentucky GOP, it probably is. He might be the best Republican in the GOP for now, which is just sad. All right, we have to take over these Crimson states. We never get voted out. Well, yeah, you can't have a Rand Paul type in Kentucky. Give me a break. And none of the Rand Paul like 10 years ago. This is the Rand Paul of 2025. Kentucky's a libertarian state. It's definitely not.
Can we just like actually pull up? I don't know if how quickly you could find it, but I think it's always, whenever we talk about Rand Paul, it's always worthy to talk about it while looking at how many delegates he won in the 2016 presidential campaign. I think like that's the perfect thing to bring up every time you talk about Rand Paul.
Yeah, he's full of crap. And hold up.
Well,
sorry.
I'm just saying, you know, kind of a. I think did he get less delegates than Jeb Bush in 2016?
He did, because he dropped out right away. Where's Jeb Bush?
He got less delegates than Jeb Bush.
2016 Republican primary. Let me pull this up. Let's see here. Excuse me.
Oh,
yep,
bless you.
He got less delegates than Jeb Bush. Rand Paul got 1, Jeb got 4.
But remember, that's the party of the 80%. Remember,
yeah.
guys.
Yeah. You did worse than Jeb Bush. Get the hell out of here.
Seriously.
Hold up. Trump. No way. The Trump administration is telling hundreds of thousands of migrants from Cuba, I can never say
Nicaragua.
Yeah. Venezuela and Haiti. I can never say that correctly. And that their legal status is revoked and they have to leave. Are you kidding? No way that's real. Please be real. So I can laugh at some people. Yeah, I can never say, yeah.
No, didn't he already like revoke a bunch of these countries, like the what do you call it, the asylum seekers?
Yeah.
That Biden had flown in. So he's just telling them now that they have to leave.
Yeah, that's why I stopped myself, because I can never pronounce it correctly. So, spikes for 2.
It's that country by El Salvador that's bigger, but way less functional.
There's some nations like that I just can't pronounce correctly for some reason. That's why I stopped myself. Like, yeah. Spikes for 2. Did you see Tom Emmer grilled Tim Walz today? I saw that. But yeah. So it turns out this idea that Trump's gonna loosen up on migrants. Yeah, I call bullshit. He said this 5 minutes. Oh my gosh, 5 minutes after he said, "Oh, we're gonna work with the farmers." Yeah, he's working with the farmers, all right. Let's see. After talking to the farmers, I've rethought my policy and decided I wasn't going hard enough.
So true.
Yeah, just like, oh, these farmers suck ass. We're gonna revoke these people. Get out of here. Caden for 2. Predictions for Flag Day. I'm preparing popcorn. Oh, the No King's Day? Is that what you're talking about? I'm gonna laugh hysterically.
Yeah. Yeah, guys, I would make sure to look up, because you can actually look up if you want to whether or not there's a protest / riot happening in your city. There's one happening in my city, shockingly enough.
If I would recommend not going anywhere that day. Just don't, because I think it's gonna be ugly in some areas. We'll see.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's like the problem is you have to remember, we have statistical proof that all these people are mentally ill, so you don't know what they're going to do to you.
Yeah. So just don't. Maybe it's a good idea to go, like, I don't know, like fishing that day. Just don't go to the city. Just go fishing or something.
Going fishing for some liberal scum.
Okay, people were asking about that AP Norc poll. Yeah, so the AP Norc poll came out, and they have like Trump at 60% disapprove. And Some guy looked inside the poll and they found something. All right, this poll has
What they
Trump at
find?
39% approve and 60% disapprove.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 69%, 60% disapprove, 39% approve, and according to them, only 30% of America voted for Trump in 2024.
Huh?
30%.
Huh?
Let me send this in the chat. Ain't
Excuse me?
ain't no way. Look at this. They found Trump got 30% of the vote, Harris 29, and according to them, 41% of America did not vote in 2025 for. 41% of their sample did not vote.
Okay. So this is not representative of anything that would happen in an election. So these are people, low propensity voters, or people that don't vote
These
at
are illegal
all.
immigrants, isn't it?
Yeah, what if they pulled illegals? That'd be pretty funny.
I would be surprised. And hey, aliens. Aliens just joined.
Hey, good morning, fellas.
AP Nork sucks. I don't get what you're complaining about.
Well, it's
His
just
approval
crazy
is
because
falling.
this is like the third poll, right? This is like the third poll that came out that's not just like, oh, Trump is underwater a couple points or a few points. Like this is like the third poll where it's like, no, Trump shitting the bed. And then we have RMG, Insider Advantage, like all of the other
Rasmussen.
center, like the center and right-wing pollsters are just like, yeah, Trump's like pretty much staying steady. Actually, Rasmussen's like talking
+8
about him
now.
going up,
It's
like which is
+8.
crazy. But everybody distrusts Rasmussen, even though they did really well last cycle. So who cares? But yeah, it's really weird, and I think that Atlas Intel basically by standing firm. I think I get it now. Atlas Intel was basically paid millions of dollars to make a bullshit poll,
So everyone
so
can go
that
ahead with it.
the rest of the polling industry could also make bullshit polls, and they'd be like, "Well, our numbers match the most accurate pollster from 2024."
I knew it. I
Um,
freaking knew it. Bloomberg paid them off. So, great. Now we gotta deal with this crap. I throw it past this point, but no, the same shitty pollsters are back. AP
but
Nork
isn't it
horrible.
isn't it funny that the corruption follows the Bloomberg money? See, Morning Consult lost their contract with
And
Bloomberg,
suddenly it's like
and
Trump +1.
and yeah, like they had they wait, was it Morning Consult that had the Trump +6,
Yeah, it was
like
Morning
an 8 point
Consult.
improvement? Yeah, which is like insane to think about because we're so used to them being a shitty pollster, and when you look at the rest of it, I still don't trust most of the Morning
Yeah, don't
Consult
trust
poll.
Morning
So I'm not.
Consult. Don't trust
I,
them.
I still don't trust Morning Consult, but like I'm just talking about the produced numbers, and they are comfortable producing a Trump +6 poll in this environment simply because they no longer have the Bloomberg money, and the Bloomberg money is not telling them to not post that.
All right,
So
Caden for 2.
it's
Whatever
interesting.
happens, just be prepared for the worst. Yeah, things get ugly. But yeah, this deployment industry, it sucks. And I swear, did RCP really include them? They better have not. I'll be pissed if they did. Trump job approval. And they does not look like they did. Good. They did not include AP Newark.
It was really hilarious though. I heard one of these three polls that we've been talking about. I heard actually used by the stupid Democrat they keep on Fox News yesterday. You guys really know that I'm a cripple staying at home without being able to go out and do field work when I am listening to Fox News at frickin'
It's
4
over.
p.m.
It's just over.
It's over. It's over. It's fucking over. It's over until August, fellas. I have an appointment on July 22nd, and then I'd like a week or two later I'll get my leg back to normal. But yeah, no. I just heard it's like her name's Jessica. She's like a really
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
annoying woman. And yeah, she referenced these garbage polls
I mean,
to
like,
basically say,
look
well,
at
Trump's not
this.
popular.
There's two realities right now. You have, well, there's really three. Yeah, there's actually two. There's the Qantas Insights, Trafalgar RMG Research, Insider Advantage, Rasmussen. They have Trump surging. His approval's going way up. And then you have Quinnipiac, CBS News, Yahoo News, Reuters, and AP Nork now. They're pushing
And Atlas
bullshit.
Intel.
Yeah, well, Atlas Intel, I think they're full of shit now, but
How come?
because I said so. Now, for real, because people look more in the poll and they have him down on every issue, and then
Okay, yeah, like
Michelle's
so
more popular. Michelle
like
Obama.
we could bring up so Michelle Obama is supposed to be super popular. Oh, Barack Obama, in spite of like having zero news coverage about himself over the past half year, it was supposed to somehow become more popular than Donald Trump over like the course of this past half year, which doesn't make really any sense at all. It shows his numbers going up. It doesn't just show Trump going down. And then it's like what was
AOC's
it? There's like
in first place.
AOC is more popular than the vice president, and and there's just so many data points about it where it's just like that doesn't make any sense. And I really don't think it's like Republican bias talking or whatever. It just the poll is really stupid looking, and you should go look at it yourself and like make your own decision because it's like, but yeah, they defended it. It was an outlier poll at the time. I guess now they have their own little bubble of polls going along with them now, Quinnipiac and now this newest poll. But I don't buy it. I really don't buy it. I think Bloomberg told them to make a shit poll, and then now the rest of the polling industry has the excuse to manufacture numbers. I would believe it more if they made it more believable. If like they were like, oh, well, Trump's like 2 to 4 to 5 points underwater, like I would be like, oh shit. But like they're not doing that. They're going to the extreme. They're like -20. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
-20.
no.
I think one of the merits to Trump's approval numbers right now, or rather to like the overarching sentiment of the country, is that the right track, wrong track metric is still holding pretty good relative to previous years. Like right now, it's only like on the RCP aggregate, it's less than like -10, which I don't think it's been like outside of like a couple like instances. It really hasn't been that tight like in at least the past 15 years that RCP's tracked it.
Yeah.
But I also at the same time don't think that Trump's PR team or that like Trump's advisors are helping him to recover his approval numbers if they are down. Like specifically with this situation developing with the farm worker illegal immigrant situation.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that that's just Trump being
Yeah, that
Trump, and he just signs it for executive
well,
order.
It might
right, and
be,
that,
but
but you
the thing
see,
is, it's not helping him at all when one of them Democrats' main lines of attack is that quote unquote Trump always chickens out.
True.
yeah.
He's
So
folding.
listen, like,
It's the general
No, no, he's
sentiment,
not
at least
folding.
until his PR.
okay,
Well, sorry,
okay,
but until his PR like corrects it, like the general
like,
sentiment that people are going to get from this, and I'm seeing this all over Twitter. I know it's anecdotal, but I'm seeing this. A lot of people sort of feel betrayed by Trump because of the situation with him talking about like keeping these illegals who are working the farm working jobs.
All right. We got a couple super chats to catch up to. K Cup for 2. John, I sent you a totally unedited blackmail of rap. Oh gosh. American Nerd for 2. Harold Ford Jr. is better than that. Jessica Lady. Yeah. American Nerd for 3. Trump up to invoke the Insurrection Act for Saturday. We'll see what happens. Oh, sorry for interrupting you. I had to get those done.
no, it's cool. I just wanted to respond to what Aliens was saying. I agree with Aliens saying that the PR team is not helping him, and I think specifically for what you're bringing up, that would tank his poll numbers in the future, like the polls we'd see the next few days if we see a drop, and I'm going to attribute it to that. But like the narrative that's being spun by these pollsters that we're talking about in particular, Quinnipiac, Atlas Intel, it seems as though they want to say that Americans saw immigration being enforced in the ICE raids, and they're upset because they didn't realize the ICE raids would be so mean and scary. And I think that's the narrative they're trying to spin, and I think that
That's
is a
bullshit.
false narrative.
That
Yeah.
immigration was
So
one of his top
yeah,
issues, and he had harsher rhetoric on the campaign
right.
trail.
Right. So if anything's going to drop his poll numbers, it's going to be exactly what you said. I don't think that the ICE raids actually happening are not dropping Trump's poll numbers.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
they're
that's
not.
the thing.
And all the attacks on Trump from like other positions, like say on like the Bill and the Elon Musk thing, and the stuff with Medicare and Social Security has never really stuck with Trump. like is a valid line of attack. So I don't think that is really like any legitimate reason either.
Right.
We could also just be falling out of the honeymoon phase, which would be kind of natural around this time. But
I think
all things
I think-
considered, I
good.
really think all things considered, like Trump's not helping his case at all with this recent move with the illegals. Like this could actually hurt his poll numbers.
I think the genuine poll drop in this like first half year of the Trump administration, like the genuine poll drop I saw, which it wasn't dramatic, but it was Liberation Day, and it stuck around for a while because we had a lot of people that were trusted more than the journalists, at least, telling us that these tariffs were really going to damage the economy. Well, and then they didn't damage the economy, and then Trump recovered from that drop, that organic drop. But then so I think that was the first one. And yeah, if Trump weakens his stance on immigration, he's absolutely going to have another drop. I completely agree. So we're going to keep our eyes peeled for this executive order. We better hope it's actually not what we think it's going to be.
I don't know.
Well, if you remember in 2020, he was talking about the big DACA bill, and it never really happened. And I feel like if he did do that, it would have hurt him.
That's the thing with Trump. You don't know when he says something. You gotta wait before he does it. Because he is somebody that will say, back in 2017, oh, we got to bring back DACA, and he never did that. So
yeah,
I'm just gonna plug this into the conversation. Not gonna ramble, but the third thing that will drop his poll numbers is if we get into a military conflict with Iran. If we do that, his number it's like a betrayal of a core campaign promise.
Yeah, I would tank.
He's going to drop. He's going to drop if that happens.
American Nerd for Chew. Is it true that Elon is kissing Trump's butt again? Yes, he is. He
doesn't want to lose his government subsidies.
That's part of it. I don't know. Like the only way I think, no, I don't think Musk's ever get back in the White House. Never. I don't think so.
No.
But hey, he's happy to support primary challengers if he wants to. Go ahead. Sure.
I don't feel comfortable with him doing that now because he, like I said, that was the thing. Like I divorced Elon Musk. I'm still pregnant with his child, but I divorced Elon Musk when he said that he would fund Democrat campaigns. I just that makes me extremely nervous about him putting any money in politics. I'm going to be real.
He was on the shrooms that day.
Let's see. Let's see. Trump floats cringe stuff on immigration when asked off the cuff, but his policy later comes out stricter. That's the thing with Trump. You have to wait for what it comes out with immigration, because one day it's like, oh, we're going to protect these poor migrants, and then like the next day Stephen Miller announces, yeah, we're deporting 500,000 people a month. So that's Trump. You just got to be careful with immigration, especially. Anyways, let's just hope Trump doesn't do anything dumb. That's what I'm worried about.
Trump has bad voices in his ear. Trump has good voices in his ear. And I just, like what I said to my server, like my private server, I just told everyone, prayers up for Steve Witkoff and for every peacemaker in Washington, D.C. They are facing Mark Levin. They're facing our, old guard senators. They're facing a lot of heat. And we just have to pray that peace prevails in this situation.
All right. American Nerd for 3. Hot take: Elon will bankroll Massie in 26. Oh, he will. He's gonna do it. That's gonna be a shit show. That's gonna be fun.
That might be just like a giant MAGA money war in Kentucky. Like randomly, Kentucky has like hundreds of millions of dollars
like
flowing into it.
$500 million for this one house seat. It better not be. I swear. But we'll see. Let's see. Remember June last year, right-wing Twitter lost it over the green card college thing? I hated it too, but would trust the plane. Yeah. And look at it now. Trump has done nothing with it. In fact, he's actually going after the green card stuff. So.
Well, it's the exact same thing that happened last time. He talked about it on the campaign trail. In August of 2016, he talked about it, and then it didn't happen.
Because that's Trump. It's just like, he says one thing, and then, like, Stephen Miller, like, tells him no. And then he just says, okay.
Well, like, he's just like openly expressing ideas, and I also think like sometimes when he like expresses interest in an idea, sometimes especially during campaigns, he's saying it because he thinks that it's like a good
test the waters. I think
it's good. Test the waters. Good talk. Like again, I don't realistically think we were talking about him discussing abolishing the income tax. That's probably not going to happen in Trump's term at all. but like 99% chance of it not happening.
There's a
But
lot of things that probably aren't going to happen that he promised. Like being realistic here, he promised a lot of different things on his campaign website, like the freedom cities and like the college system, like the government college system he wanted
oh
to
no,
have.
no,
A lot
I
of
mean
these
that was a
things,
bad.
like
I agree with you, but that's a bad example because Senator Mike Lee actually just introduced legislation for it, and also
Yeah,
the HUD Secretary and Interior Secretary already signed an agreement. They're scoping out
they're
land,
working
and
on it.
there's specific land in Utah that they're actually getting ready for right now.
Yeah,
Um,
they're working on the freedom cities. It's gonna take a
but
long time. So
I totally agree with your point though. He promised a billion things. It's not
yeah.
you can't
And
get
on
all of
top of
it.
that, let's like being realistic, he has about a year and a half left until the midterms, and there is probably, I would say, at the rate things are going, a 90% chance or higher chance that we lose the
I'm
House.
not going that
And by
high.
that point,
That's
he's going to be entering another period of gridlock where all he can really do is rule by executive order.
I don't think it's been 90%. That might be pushing it, but we'll see. American
I
Nerd
haven't
for
really seen any good trends for Republicans. It's going to be a low turnout election,
we'll
and
see. American Nerd for 2. Whatever Trump says, the trail balloon for public. Yeah, you just gotta figure it out. Sometimes he says what he does and then doesn't. But yeah, I'm hoping Trump realizes that nobody wants this because it's freaking
Yeah.
stupid, freaking dumb. So yeah.
Yeah. Again, we can talk. We have a long time to talk about midterms, but I just will say like, I really think spending is going to be a big thing for 2026, and I keep looking at our money pot and going like, this is more money than we've ever had, and it's not in the hands of the people that normally have it, and so that gives me hope. I have hopium for the midterms because of the money that we're going to be able to spend on it.
All right.
Also apparently, I heard this from Halprin. Apparently we have people who are going out and registering voters right now.
Yeah, we do.
I didn't know that. Wow. Yeah, no. Well, that explains the registration numbers we keep seeing. But
Yeah, like Pennsylvania
I was
had
like,
Pennsylvania had fluke for like 2 weeks because they had a weird primary, and now it's back to normal. So yeah,
that's crazy.
we'll see. Again, I'm not even saying it's a guarantee Republicans take back the House. I think Democrats are slightly favored, but I look at the approval poll of both parties, and Republicans are still winning that by a lot. So again, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but all right, if anyone got any more super chats, any more questions, concerns, whatever, send them now. Last calls are super chats. It looks like former sheriff of Panola County, Mark Lamb, is going to run for Andy Biggs' House seat. I endorse him. If he runs, go ahead. I support him. Hey, he put up a good fight against Kerry Lake. So, American Nerd for 3. Can't the RNC kick Massie out of the party? I mean, they kind of can. They can kick him out of the conference, maybe, but
Did you see the news that they like kept Rand Paul out of like the luncheon,
yeah, I saw
the picnic?
That's
funny.
That's pure Trump. Just like, oh yeah, screw you. Vote for my stuff. Bye.
Is Rand Paul correct in that this is incredibly petty?
Yes.
Do I care? No.
I love it. I love it. I mean, seriously, why is anyone feeling bad for the guy? He did himself.
Well, I mean, so Trump in behavior can be extremely petty.
Good.
Rand Paul in action, in legislative action, is incredibly petty. So it's kind of like tit
Evens
for
out.
tat there in my brain. It's a tit for tat situation. If you don't want pettiness, don't be so fucking petty on the floor. Like that's a reasonable ask.
All right, everybody. So I think that's it for the stream. I don't think we're gonna stream tomorrow. I think we did 5 streams today. Or this week, I should say. So yeah, it was a fun week. Surely nothing happens on Saturday, right?
Yeah. Nothing. I think it's gonna be lollipops and sunshine. If Rap, if you don't want to stream, if something happens like on Saturday, I might stream on Twitter or something else. I don't
might
know.
go live if like shit hits a fan. We'll see.
Yeah,
If things start lighting and fire and stuff, we might go live. But all right.
Yeah.
So I think that's everybody. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next stream video wherever you see us at. Again, we might stream on Saturday. I don't know, but yeah. If I don't, see you guys next Monday. All right. Godspeed.